Hi everyone, Emily Teacher here, and today we're reading Martha Graham, Artist and Teacher. Freedom. Free to be what you want to be and free to do what you want to do. That's all Martha Graham wanted, but it wasn't easy. She was a dancer who went on to become one of the foremost artists of her time. She was also recognized as one of the greatest teachers of modern dance. But before she could do any of this, Martha Graham had to change the rules. So let's learn about Martha Graham and see what she did to change what dance was known as. Before Martha Graham's time, dance as a serious art form meant French and Russian ballet. Ballet had remained largely unchanged since the 19th century. It told stories that were often sentimental and far removed from the real world. The dance steps followed fixed patterns of movement. Female dancers wore traditional tight-waisted costumes with short skirts and tights. Their stiffened ballet shoes enabled them to dance on their toes. Music was usually classical. It was often written especially for the ballet. So, serious dance, way back when, was really French and Russian ballet. It was a traditional type of dance. So, there was a specific way to do it, and it was always done that way. The stories were very fantasy stories. They were made up, not really anything about the real world. They wore tight waisted costumes. Their shoes were very stiff, and usually the music was classical. Martha Graham began by eliminating from her dances everything that she felt unnecessary. What remained was a new kind of dance, stripped to its essentials. It used bare stage settings and the simplest of costumes. Her dancers were usually barefoot and wore loose-fitting clothes. Her subjects were drawn from a great variety of sources. They included Native American life, American history, and the poetry of Emily Dickinson. She tried to develop a kind of dance that expressed human feelings along with telling a story. So while traditional ballet was not based on anything real, Martha made her dances based on telling a story of human feeling. So, usually of real problems and real things in human life. They were very simple, right? The stage didn't have many things on it. They were simple, loose, flowing costumes. Very different. Martha Graham's lifelong interest in dance began in 1912 at the age of 17. She saw Ruth St. Denis perform in San Francisco as part of her American tour. St. Denis was heavily influenced by Japanese, Indian, and Spanish dances. Graham was entranced by what she saw. She began taking dancing lessons. When she was 22, she successfully auditioned for the Dennis Shaw Dance Company. The company was run by Ruth St. Denis and her husband Ted Shawn. Graham stayed with the company for 7 years. She became one of its leading dancers. So Martha Graham started off very interested and loved dance. So she later became a very good dancer with the same company that helped her to fall in love with dance. In 1924, Martha Graham decided to forsake the life of a performer for a while. She concentrated on teaching and developing her own style of dancing. And 2 years later, she returned to the New York stage, bringing with her a trio of female dancers who had been her best students. With these three dancers, she formed the Martha Graham Dance Company. And over the next few years, the company grew much larger. She preferred women dancers. Not until 1938 did she engage male dancers to appear on stage with her. Modern dance, she once said, isn't anything in my mind except one thing: the freedom of women in America. So, after she was a dancer, she took some time off and became a teacher and a creator of her new modern dance style. With her three dancers, they performed and her dance company grew larger. But most of the time, she only used women in her dances, and it wasn't until later that she allowed some male dancers to join. Her last public performance took place in 1969 when she was 74 years old. She had won over all her critics. She had elevated modern dance to a new American art form. When she died in 1991, she was at work creating a new dance for her company. Martha Graham was 96 years old. That unfinished work, The Eyes of the Goddess, was performed by her company shortly after her death. Their performance was a tribute to one of America's greatest artists. So even right before she died, she was still creating new dances. Very amazing woman. Thank you so much for listening today. We do have links that are related to each story. If you would like the link for this one, you can find it down in the description below.